All right, welcome. Today we're diving into one of the most critical roles in tech, but one you might not even know exists, the data engineer. These folks are the real architects of our digital world. So let's figure out what they actually do.
You've probably heard this quote before, and honestly, it is the perfect way to frame this. We all know data is the new oil, right? It's this incredibly valuable raw resource. Well, data engineers, they're the ones building the giant, complex refineries and pipelines that turn that raw crude into something we can actually use, something powerful.
So, in the simplest terms, a data engineer builds the systems that move data from point A to point B. And this is the key part, their real job is to make sure that by the time it gets to point B, it's clean, it's organized, and it's totally ready for data scientists to work their magic or for analysts to find those game-changing insights. They literally enable the entire data-driven world we live in.
So what's their mission, really? Think about it. You've got this absolute chaos of raw data streaming in from everywhere, from apps, from sensors, from websites. It's a mess. The data engineer's mission is to step into that chaos and build a system that refines it all into a high-quality, trustworthy asset, something you can actually bet your business on.
And just like any big construction project, you can't just start building. You need a blueprint. For a data engineer, that first big decision is choosing the fundamental design for their data pipeline. And believe me, this choice, it impacts everything that comes next.
And that choice? It usually boils down to two little acronyms, ETL and ELT. Look closely. The only difference is where that letter T for transform sits. But that one letter's position, it changes the entire game. ETL is the classic way of doing things. You clean and structure the data before you let it into your nice, tidy data warehouse. ELT is the modern, cloud-first approach. Just dump all the raw data in first into what we call a data lake, and then you transform it later, whenever you need to. Okay, so let's break down that classic ETL flow. Step 1, you extract data from your sources. Step 2, you push it through this transformation process where all the cleaning and structuring happens. And only then, step 3, do you load that finished, polished data into your warehouse. It's all very neat, very orderly. But ELT, it completely flips the script. You extract the raw data and you immediately load it, messy and all, into a huge, cost-effective data lake. The transformation, that happens way later, on demand. And this is so powerful because it gives you this amazing flexibility. You can go back to the raw data and ask new questions you hadn't even thought of when you first collected it. All right, so you've got your blueprint, ETL or ELT. What's next? Well, now you've got to think about speed. How fast do you need to turn this stuff around for it to actually be useful? And that brings us to batch versus real-time. Batch processing is for when waiting is okay, like running your daily sales reports overnight. The data gets processed in these big, chunky batches. But real-time, that's when you need an answer right now. The perfect example is fraud detection. A platform has to analyze a credit card swipe the instant it happens. You can't wait until tomorrow to find out your card was just stolen, right? Now, it's not always so black and white, of course. There's a middle ground, near real-time, which is great for things like analyzing website clicks every few minutes instead of every second. And for really complex systems, engineers might use what's called a lambda architecture. The easiest way to think about it is that it has two lanes, a slow lane that crunches all the historical data for perfect accuracy, and a fast lane that gives you an immediate read on what's happening right now. You kind of get the best of both worlds. So, whether they're building for speed or for bulk, engineers have this amazing set of modern tools to make it all happen. So how do they actually build this stuff? Let's pop the hood and look at the essential tech and their toolkit. Okay, first things first, the foundation is the cloud. We're talking AWS, Azure, GCP. These guys provide the fundamental building blocks, the storage, the servers, all of it. And then you have these specialized powerhouses like Snowflake and Databricks that sit on top, offering some seriously focused and powerful solutions. Then you need the engines to do the heavy lifting. Think of Apache Spark as the ultimate workhorse for analyzing massive datasets. For the real-time stuff, you've got Kafka. It's like the data world's central nervous system, built for one thing, moving insane amounts of data instantly from point A to B. But hold on. With all these different tools and processes, how do you make sure everything happens in the right order, at the right time? It's chaos otherwise. Well, that's where orchestration tools like Apache Airflow step in. They are literally the conductors of the data orchestra. They make sure every single job kicks off exactly when it's supposed to.
Okay, so we've talked about building pipelines. That's the construction part. But building a fast pipeline is one thing. Building one that gives you data you can actually trust, that's a whole other ballgame.
I mean, seriously, what good is a lightning-fast pipeline if the data it's spitting out is just plain wrong? This is the question that keeps data engineers up at night. Speed means nothing without accuracy. A pipeline feeding you bad info isn't just useless, it's actively dangerous. It leads to really, really bad decisions.
And these are just some of the enemies they're fighting every single day. You've got data that just disappears. The structure of the data, the schema, suddenly changes without warning. Annoying duplicate records start creeping in. It's a constant battle to filter out all these impurities and keep that data clean.
So how do they win this battle and build trust? Well, it comes down to a few core practices. Data lineage is like a detailed receipt for your data. It shows you exactly where it's been. Metadata management is basically creating a data dictionary, so everyone in the company knows what they're looking at. Governance is all about protecting the sensitive stuff. And of course, constant monitoring is the alarm system that screams the second anything looks fishy.
So you can see this isn't just about knowing which tools to use. That's only half of it. To be a truly great data engineer, you have to adopt the mindset of a master architect, a master builder. A great engineer is always thinking ahead. They're not just building for today's problems. Their work has to be fast, of course, but it also has to be rock-solid reliable. It needs top-notch security and governance built in. And, maybe most importantly, it has to be built to scale. Because, let's face it, the amount of data we're dealing with is only going in one direction, up.
And that really gets to the heart of it all. At the end of the day, their job isn't just to shuffle bits and bytes around. The real goal is to empower the entire organization, to give them this incredible asset, clean, reliable, scalable data that lets them make smarter and faster decisions. That's the true impact.
So, I'll leave you with this. The next time your map app magically reroutes you around a traffic jam you didn't even know was there, or you get a product recommendation that is so spot on it's kind of creaky, just take a second. Think about the massive, invisible architecture humming along behind the scenes. And think about the data engineer, the master builder who made it all possible. They really are the unsung heroes of our digital world.